What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to teach everybody how to make your very own Himalayan salt lamp. Yeah, let's do it. So here's what you're going to need. A drill, some sort of drill bit. This is a Tapcon drill bit. This shit's made for concrete, so we'll see if it works. Some chisels and a hammer. So then step one is going to be go down to your local salt mine and get you a nice piece of salt. This one's got a lot of cool colors to it, so I'm hoping it'll look good with some lights inside. Now, I know what you're thinking, local salt mine. All right, well, if you live in Kansas, there's one in Hutchinson, and if you live in Buffalo, there's one in Mount Morris. Mount Morris is actually the biggest one in the world, so. All right, so next we got to get one of these sides flat. I don't know, hard to pick, but I think this side's pretty close. What I'm going to do is cut most of this off here. Basically, what you're going to do is get above it, figure out where you want flat, and drill a fuck ton of holes right along there. So that's what we'll do now. As a disclaimer, typically when you're drilling stuff like this, you're going to be pouring water onto it as you drill. However, that makes a mess, and I don't feel like it, so I'm not going to. Additionally, water dissolves salt, so every bit of water that you're pouring onto there, you're going to be dissolving a little bit of away and kind of getting rid of those cool, like, geometric patterns that you see on the outside. Alright, so as you can see, we had this white powder come out while we were drilling. Now, yes, essentially it's table salt. However, you don't really know the purity levels of the rock that you're drilling into, and you don't want to be eating rock and mud. So just vacuum it up, and that'll help keep your wife happy as well.
So in some spots, like, you're going to try and drill, and basically your drill bit's just going to keep slipping, right? Because it's diagonal or whatever, right? You're going to go to drill, and it's just all over the place. So what you'll have to do is take your chisel and your hammer and really gently just try and kind of knock out a nice spot for your drill bit to go. That'll help it stay in there and get right where you need to go.
So as you can see, we're drilling these holes in a line. We're just going to keep going all the way across. And then you can tell by the depth of the drill bit, we're getting most of the way through there. Alright, so we spoke on the impurities of the rock earlier, and that's something that's kind of come to fruition now. Basically, we're drilling in, but we're hitting something really hard there in the middle. It could be a hard type of rock, so I'm going to show you the type of drilling style to use for this. Alright, so this is going to be called peck drilling. While your drill's running, you're basically going to go in, pull it out. Go in a little bit further, pull it out. Even further, and pull it out. And this allows whatever's in there to get pulled out of the way so that you're just drilling straight in to the rock and not into other stuff. So this is what it's going to look like. Alright, so something to look out for is, as you can see, I've gone mostly this way. When you get towards the edge here, salt is very brittle, right? So as you're getting like through here, it could totally break and chip off, right? With that being said, you're going to want to put something down underneath of whatever you're drilling. Because that chipped off, my drill bit would have hit the table, but instead it just went into this, dirty rag and into the scrap wood here. All right, so as you can see, we got our holes drilled all the way across. However, for some of these ones in the center, right, like our drill bit went in pretty far, but it doesn't get all the way through. All right, we're not breaking through down here like we did with some of the side holes. So for that reason, we're going to flip it over and just do a couple more in line with these from the bottom, going the opposite direction instead. So we've added a couple pilot holes basically to the bottom, and those will go along with our ones that we made on the top earlier. Now, hold on a second. Up until now, this has actually been really close to the process that has been used for mining since the 50s. Basically, on a much larger scale, the miners would drill these pilot holes into the salt that's, 650 feet below the earth. And, they would just do it just like we did, but further spaced apart. And that's where we're kind of going to differ from them is here, because they would put dynamite or blasting wire or something, and we're just not going to do that. So here's what we're going to do. Side note, I will point out that these holes are very similar in diameter to a firecracker. If you want to try that, go for it. I'm not going to tell you don't try that at home. So next what we're going to do is we're going to take our hammer and our chisel, and we're slowly going to start to connect these holes. Now, don't worry if it doesn't chip off quite perfect. You can't really predict how salt's going to chip. you know, it's gonna look a little funky, but as Bob Ross said, in life there's a lot of happy accidents, and that's how a lot of you were born. Alright, so check this out. I just barely started getting the chisel into the rock, and it's already started to form these little cracks. Look, that's really only in there like half an inch. So pretty much, if your pilot holes are good, you'll be able to get your chisel in there, and if your pilot holes are nice, you'll get you a nice smooth surface along the edge. So you'll find like awesome little crystals like this that if you put them in the light, they are almost dead clear. You could pass that off as a diamond and, you know, nobody would notice. But as you see, there's still little bits of impurities in it, so I still wouldn't recommend eating it. But I think those impurities are going to make our light look really cool. It's going to give it a nice tint in some areas and really clear in some areas. But check it out. So this is what we did. There's still some not quite perfect parts of it, but basically that's going to form our base, and that's how it's going to sit. Are we close to done? No, not even close. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go and look at this bottom part, right? So what we're going to be doing is drilling into this part. So we could do the same thing, some chiseling to get it to break away. That's where our light's going to go. And the further you can get your light up in there, the more you'll be able to see through the rock. So we're going to take a Sharpie and mark where we want to drill. So now we've got our Sharpie line drawn, and we're going to do the same thing. Close little drills all the way around it. It's going to take a while. Don't worry about getting a perfect circle. Even if you get a perfect circle drawn, there's no way you're going to be able to drill in a perfect circle, and there's no way it's going to break in a perfect circle. Just getting a nice cavity for these lights to sit into and be able to make it shine to the outside. So you want to get it kind of close to the edge, but not enough that you're too close and it's going to crack off and ruin your rock. Alright, so since you're going to be drilling sideways for this bottom hole, what I did was I ratchet strapped this to the bottom of the table. That way, when we're drilling in, it's not going to push our rock too much that way, and we'll be able to put good pressure behind it. Now, I know what you're thinking. You didn't tell us that we needed a ratchet strap at the beginning of the video. I don't care. Figure it out. Alright, so I was getting annoyed at how slow my drill was going, and I got a lot of drills to do, so I went to Walmart and I got this hammer drill. It was like $30. Totally worth it. I'm doing them like 5 times as fast now. I have no idea what a hammer drill is, but it works great. Alright, so as you can see, we have drilled holes all the way around. Like I said, wasn't a perfect circle, but whatever. Now we're going to do the same thing we did with our chisel. Just start chiseling away at this. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so I didn't drill enough pilot holes. Basically started to get some cracking down in here. There's nothing that's not salvageable. See how I started going all the way around with it. So what we're going to do is drill more holes on the inside, and basically this will just be way too holy to not just fall apart. But that's for tomorrow, as it's getting late and I've got neighbors. Stay tuned for part 2 of Salt Lamp Adventures.